she will have the benefit of not ploughing, and I have to say that I'm not totally sold on it. I think from bib 11 down, 55 seconds back for Brennan, it's almost just a mass start. You know, it's 55 seconds to 111 to 33rd place, so 15 seconds for sort of 20-25 places. It's effectively a mass start.
It is further back, but what about Lynn Svan and Jessie Diggins? They've got huge decisions to make. Do they try and work together? Do they try and assist each other up front? When I think Jessie will try and very quickly catch up with this lady. This is Dahlqvist, I should say, who will be chasing Diggins, and only some 1 second behind Diggins as she sets off.
Yeah, huge questions here. The snow is going to make such a difference in the tactics in this race. Absolutely fascinating to see whether they decide to stay easy, wait for the pack to catch up, or push it and risk in that snow.
A very nervous lineup as Feindrich just acknowledges the reception here. She didn't make the podium she wanted dearly last night. She's getting better, but unlike last year where she took the sprint victory, today it's 20 kilometers classic style, and based mainly from the performances last night in terms of sprinting. Unusual, a little controversial, but they're certainly nervous in these conditions. Day 5 of racing on the Tour de Ski. Another day off tomorrow as they will then head over to Val de Fiemme, which has been the final day since the beginning of the Tour de Skis 18 years ago. Awful conditions in terms of classic. The technicians have tried to find the right solution. Is it double poling? Do we just go on skate skis? Is it waxless? How much wax do we put on? Lynn Svan about to get underway. 15 seconds lead ahead of Jessie Diggins. Yes, she's going to double pull this first bit. Is she going to double pull the whole course? I think she is. Well, that puts it out on the table, and that's a tough job. Jessie Diggins has got grip wax, and will want to, I think very quickly, Posey, Diggins it's just in her DNA to push hard. Well, there's a comparison. The Swedes are double pulling, and Dahlqvist, that's going to hurt. So the Swedes definitely appear as if very early on that's the best solution they've found, but these are sprinters, remember, up front, who use a lot of double pulling power.
This is just fascinating right from the gun to see who's chosen what. It's so unusual, particularly in the women's, to see many choose to go with double poling. So, just to see already all of those top Swedes on double poling skis, Diggins not, who's made the right call there.
It's incredible, and you can see a lot of the athletes just keeping their skis moving, indicating they've got grip wax on. They don't want it to ball up, to ice up. You alluded to the fact that it is like a mass start for the back. Well, there we are in 1 minute. A lot of the big names setting out on their journey now. Schlind, she'll double pull. Moa Ilar, Carlson. I would imagine Carlson will try some wax. And there it is, based on last night's sprints. It's all very quickly underway. 1:23, the last athlete starting, and that's Sophia Lauchley from the USA. Only 44 athletes remaining in the Tour de Ski. And if you remember, if you were with us on day 1, we had some 87 athletes at the beginning of the Tour de Ski.
Yeah, a huge amount of dropout. I do think that is pretty standard as we get through the Tour. I tend to think in this year, without a World Championships or an Olympics, more people are willing to stay the course because they don't have the big events to focus on after, but the format's so brutal, and we've seen a lot of injury and illness particularly as well.
So 440 metres rise, Posey, on this track here, this new track in Davos, up the usual valley where all these athletes are very familiar with the World Cups coming up this section of the valley, but we'll soon spin back and head down to the second of the valleys. Quite easy terrain, so I can understand the double poling up here.
Yeah, this is a really great shot actually to get a view of who has chosen double poling and who hasn't. So it looks to me like the Swedes for the most part have gone with double poling. You can see all the blue and yellow suits, so double poling up the hill here, whereas pretty much everyone else has stuck with the kick wax.
Have a look at Jessie Diggins chasing Svan here. Now Svan, another issue today, Posey, with those who have decided to go waxless, they must not use the skating technique too far around the corners, and those on yellow cards already may well find themselves knocked out, so they'll have to be very careful and bear that in mind.
Yeah, they've got to be so careful on those steeper climbs when they'll be going into the herringbone, like we saw Svan there with the skis in the V shape, so no glide at all can be allowed if you've if you've chosen to go on this technique. So yeah, it's a really tricky one, and God, the snow is absolutely brutal here. So I think, gosh, this is going to be difficult. We can just see that whole pack behind there.
It seems the majority of the pack chasing have got wax. The Swedes, without a doubt, in positions 1, 3 and 4 are only going to double pull. So a lot of super loading of the smaller arm muscles. Comes risk with that, but it will be a big gain on the descent back down this section here onto the new section, of course, in Davos.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the section now where we're going to see the benefit of the double polling. There's quite a long flat back through the stadium, out the other side into the other valley, so a couple of kilometres without a huge amount of climb. Then, as we saw on that course profile, we got a decent rise for about a kilometre or so, and then again really long flat section in a downhill.
10 definitely has wax on, but is struggling. You saw her nearly tripping over the front of her skis. This is what we mentioned. It can ball up, it can ice up and catch you by surprise.
Yeah, so just I think one of the Carlson looks like she's gone for double pole, so a pretty standard approach across the Swedes as far as I can tell. And the only other one I think is who I thought might is Astrid Slind with 21. So again, she's got this background from the marathon racing, the long distance ski classics, where they often will double pole the whole thing. So I'm not so surprised to see her.
Yes, she's so accustomed to that. Well, that's interesting. We saw Dahlqvist and Hagstrom detached or behind Diggins by some 2 seconds at the high point, so their skis are gliding much faster on the flat and gently down. Svan at the front is basically snow ploughing, and that's why she's being held back by the huge amount of snow that's fallen in the last 20 minutes actually since the 4 Laufers went round.
Yeah, so the big question for me is what happens now. So Svan's looked behind her shoulder. I think she was expecting to see these guys come up behind. I don't think she had any interest at all in doing this whole 20 kilometres by herself. So they've got a pack of 4. Do they stick together? Do they work hard? Do they try and maintain that lead? Or do they say, do you know what, with all this snow, it's just not worth the effort. We're going to ease up and let the whole pack come back together. It's so hard to call.
Do you know, it is, and I think the coaches will have gone through those aspects. Do you burn so much energy today by trying to snowplow in these awful conditions? Maybe they're going to do they are going to do some lead share. I think they'll try and hold the rest of the field back. Myhrvold and Galva there for Norway. In fact, that's Feindrich, I should say, leading Myhrvold. Number 9 coming in, that's Emma Riebaum. 11, that's Rosie Brennan there. I think she's closed from the lead. 21 has maybe found that Slind. Is she double polling? I would imagine she is. And she's really pulled back time. Slind starting 1 minute and 4 seconds behind, so she really is finding the correct formula.
Yeah, normally we'd expect to see Deggins being the one pushing the pace at the front, so is she going to go with her normal tactics, or is she being team orders to stick behind the Swedes? Oh, what a shame for Diggins there. I think that's such an unlucky incident. She's obviously just getting herself together there. You can see her holding her side as well, so not feeling too good after that.
I cannot believe that. If you're talking about luck over 7 races in 9 days, yes, you're going to bump into some issues along the way, but in these conditions, the best possible move was to stay with the 3 Swedes. What a shame. They're on their own now.
They certainly are, and again, what are those 3 Swedes going to do? Are they going to try and work together? I think for those 3, if they're interested in that overall victory, it's in their interest to try and do a bit of work there to stay ahead and bring some time back on Diggins.
Have a look at this. So if you're going to take a drink stop in a race, you take it generally rather quickly, but that was like, shall we have a wee cup of coffee? So clearly the 3 Swedes at the front are fully expecting the pack to come. They've got them.
They're not interested, are they? They're looking behind. Dahlqvist is just standing up there, I think. Well, no interest today in being out in front. No one wants to be taking the lead. So that's good for Diggins again. And you know what? She's got to be smart and she's got to think. She's got a 33 seconds on Svan, a minute 22 on 3rd place. She can afford to be in this pack.
Well, these are the virtual tour standings. Remember, Jessie Diggins had 33 seconds ahead of Svan, so it's not a nightmare. Jessie Diggins in 4th place in the chasing line of athletes. So this is really just going to be one massive pack at the front. Certainly, I think, Posey, for this first rotation of 10 kilometres, who knows what's going to happen the second. If the snow calms down, we may see some different strategy. Who's coming through rapid fire there? Another Swede for sure. This is like a Sunday afternoon ski.
Svan at the front looks like she's having a little warm down after her sprint yesterday. Everyone's looking behind. No one wants to take the lead. It's just going to be a massive game of chicken, and I just don't know who's going to be willing to take this on. This is going to be really tricky.
I think maybe Slind in 7th position, bib 21. Remember, already she's pulled 1 minute and 4 seconds back in 9 minutes of racing. I mean, unheard of.
This is just, we never see this in the women's. It's not unusual in the men's to see a little bit of jockeying around and a bit of chicken to see who wants to take the pace on. In the women's, it's usually just hard from the gun, but this snow and these conditions are just changing it for everyone.
And if you're new to cross-country skiing and you've bumped into this for the first time, generally after 10 minutes in a start order we had today, there would be a real spread of athletes, and the 1 minute 4 seconds gap back to 21 would probably sit around that same time differential. But today, because of this heavy snow, it's all changed. And I think a little lucky there for Jessie Diggins. Not lucky that she maybe didn't see that little rise and fell over the tips of her skis, but lucky that the Swedes have really backed off now.
Yeah, I think she was absolutely lucky that the Swedes had no interest in pushing the pace up front, because I think in a different day, if she'd done that, if it had been a little bit firmer, those three might have said, yeah, we're going to take the work on up front and extend that gap. But as it was, absolutely no interest in doing that whatsoever. The other thing here, Mike, with these tactics is that the Swedes are now in front, and we can see what's happening. 11, that's Brennan. She's got kick-wax. She can push the pace up the hills. Swedes are trying to control the pace at the front, so on those double pole sections they're not disadvantaged. But those with the kick are not interested in doing that, and now are pushing the pace as we get to this first uphill section.
Jessie Diggins needs to make serious decisions now, but I think the wax isn't working. Maybe it was balling up, icing up, as we mentioned. She would have absolutely have jumped out there with Hennig and Carl and Brennan had she felt she could. So clearly Diggins thinking another plan B at the moment.
Yeah, you can see how much snow there is. Those who are out of the tracks are just almost snow ploughing. So you could see when the athletes went round, you could see their tracks sort of 6 inches of snow was they're having to get through to get round, and it does make it difficult. And if you're nervous about your skis and your kick wax, then you can get a lot of snow balling up on the bottom of the skis.
It's horrific. Anyone who has experienced that very wet conditions around zero, that's when it's at its absolute most difficult. We've had many races over the years where that is the case. So it's all changed at the front. The double poling Swedes are still there, so they're still able, and they're allowing Rosie Brennan to do the snow ploughing up the front. Victoria Carl, I'm surprised she's not a little closer to Rosie Brennan. So Jessie Diggins, they're struggling actually, just behind 23. I don't think the wax is working well.
I mean, that's the worst of both worlds. If you've got kick wax but it's not working, you're slower on the downhills and you're not getting kick on the uphills. So it's hard to know though, is it not working? Is she still suffering some impact from this fall? I think mentally that kind of thing, it really puts you off, and it's hard to get your flow back again after that.
It very much is, and I really feel right now for Jessie Diggins, having had the perfect first 4 days to this Tour de Ski, very few mistakes. She was back on the podium again last night, and now she sits midfield looking uncomfortable, looking like there is no glide. So I think those skis are icing up badly.
The only thing I would say is that we've got Rosie Brennan out in front there, so with the American team, someone has done something right with that kick wax, but it's not just it's the kick wax, but it's the skis, it's the choice of the individual, how much kick wax do they choose to put on. There's a lot of different factors within that, and it is so hard on these days. I feel for the wax techs and I feel for the athletes as well to be making those decisions, particularly with this these new protocols this year. You have to put the skis in 30 minutes before the start because of the fluoro testing as well. So when conditions are changing this much, that's such a difficult call.
Now that's a very good point. The heavy snow really, yes, it was snowing up to 10:05. We were watching it, and then it started to fall harder. So all the technicians and athletes were putting their skis, as you say, into the pen prior to the start at that time. So maybe it has caught a few out. And of course, Hegstrom alluding to the fact that all the different coaches have got different opinions. two Finns at the front. Is that what I saw there?
I think that was Rosie Brennan and Niskanen, of course. So those, again, this is this longer uphill that we've got. So I think this is one of the few chances on this course that athletes do have to break away. The snow doesn't look quite as heavy up here as well. It could just be the camera angle. But yeah, they're obviously deciding this is when they want to work if they're going to do any damage at all.
Incredible. So possibly, the clever strategy is to take it easy on this first lap. The snow has been predicted to drop away. We can see that now. So maybe Jesse Diggins, maybe Lynn Svan, Dahlqvist, Hagstrom are saving something. Let someone else do the snow ploughing first time round, and we'll put the effort in on the second rotation of 10 kilometres. Difficult, Posey, to double pole up this section.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So that, for these for the Swedes and for all those on double poling skis, it's just survival mode. They've just got to get up the hills whatever way they can do, and then hope that they make that time back on the downhill. So they can also risk that they can be a little bit behind. They don't need to panic too much. You can see Dahlqvist at the back of this pack, she's got out and she's herringboning, because they should be able to make some of that time up again on the downhills.
What's bizarre, really, or maybe not, you need wise head in this game, you need a tough head in this game. It's the two 35-year-olds who are out the front, the vastly experienced athletes.
That's Hennig down as well. Oh my goodness, this snow is just absolutely...
Or was that Carl?
Oh, maybe it was Carl. I'll have to have another look. And it's just that people are falling without anyone around them. I think the snow is just so sticky. It's balling up on the skis and people are just being stopped in their tracks.
Now, Posey, I mentioned to you before the race, do you think the jury will be considering putting the start time off? And I think I was with your answer.
Which was...
No. This is a winter sport.
This is a winter sport, and conditions are part of it, and luck plays into it. But this is unusual. I can't remember the last time I've seen a race with this many twists and turns with the weather.
It certainly has spiced it up. So who is up there? It is, and the toughness of Rosie Brennan is leading this. She's snow ploughing on some heavy duty falling snow there. She's got a good flow. The grip is good. I'm surprised she hasn't asked Niskanen to come through and assist her at the front there, give her a break at the front. And it was Carl who took the fall. There's Hennig, who won her first race last year in the Tour de Ski, taking the stage we're actually going to next in Val di Fiemme. It's a mass start, classic style.
Yeah, this is brave for these two to take it on. I think it's the right move. If they want to get a break anywhere, it has to be on this uphill section. It's just, have they made up enough time here that they can keep that gap? There's a risk that they've put in an awful lot of energy and they're going to get caught on this downhill again, because you've got quite a long gradual downhill and then a very long flat section, which is going to be good for the Swedes on the double pole skis. And Slynn's.
Yeah, and absolutely. And Lynn Svan there, she must be about a 5-second gap there. I think we'll very quickly see Lynn Svan, who's in 4th position, pull a lot of that time back because she's got no grip wax on. Look, she's holding the tuck a little longer.
Yeah, it's so interesting as well, look, to see everyone's just in this one track. It makes so much difference to be in the one that's been skied in. So we normally see 2-3 wides, but no, everyone in that one. Svan looking behind as well.
She's supremely relaxed, as she was last night, taking the victory in the sprint competition. Well, there's the benefit of waxless skis. Svan was 5 seconds away up the top of the hill, and just with the fact that Rosie Brennan is snow ploughing, trailblazing at the front, she's back in contact.
Oh yeah, it's going to be hard to break away. I think I admire them for making the effort, and I think if you're interested in your overall standings, then you maybe want to take that risk. Those are 3 brilliant classic skiers out in front. Brennan's improved a lot, but Niskanen and Hennig particularly, they're classic specialists, and they want to take the opportunity here, but it's just hard to break away.
It is. I'm really surprised. Rosie Brennan, I'm sure she's turned around and suggested, of course Niskanen speaks perfect English, what about a little bit of share at the front? Did that conversation happen?
Again, look, Brennan is doing a lot of work here out front. By the time you get to Svan in 4th place, she just looks like she's out for a stroll, an afternoon stroll here.
And now the snow has stopped. Yes, Rosie Brennan's pressing the tracks down from that heavy snowfall. The second lap is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think the snow is certainly calmed down. It's sometimes very hard to tell when we get different angles. It's certainly a little bit going, but if it does ease back, as you say, that does give an opportunity for that second lap to be a little bit different.
So the advantage at the start of the day, we thought that Lynn Svan and Jessie Diggins may have, having started some 50 seconds ahead of the main distance athletes, not the sprinters. Have a look at that. Athletes falling on the flat. It's unheard of. It's happening all the time. Those skis are icing up. Rosie Brennan, that's a good get-out clause. Stop for a drink. Yeah. Let someone else lead.
Great move. Oh, I feel for those athletes with those skis that are balling up. There's nothing more frustrating than just being stopped dead in your tracks.
So that's us just down the bottom of the Schizern Valley, heading back up towards Davos town. So welcome back. This is at only 5.7 kilometers. The athletes are really having to plough through some heavy snowfall here in Davos and really slowing the pace down, the expected pace.
So as we get everyone through this split, just interesting as well to note that pretty much everyone is managing to stay with this pace. So we only had 40 starters in the end. There were 4 DNSs, and of those, 37 are within 20 seconds of the lead. So the whole pack, bar 3 people, have managed to stay with that lead pace. And again, that just shows the impact this snow is having.
And it is unheard of, really, isn't it? When we have a lot of sprinters, this start list really based on the sprinting performance last night. So the distance athletes have been allowed to very quickly. Astrid Eurish-Lind started 1 minute 4 seconds behind Svan. That was absorbed within 5-6 minutes of racing. So very interesting day in Davos, and a real game changer in terms of potentially, it's not over yet, the shape at the end of the day, with Jessie Diggins starting the day with such a positive lead, 33 seconds ahead of Svan, 122 ahead of Sundling, Rebohm 127, and the big distance racer Slind 139 behind.
Yeah, I think this is the people this is really benefiting are those who are within that 1 to 2 minute marker. So Slynn, Carlson, Niskanen, they're all sort of 130, 140 seconds behind. If you're even further back, if you look a little bit more down, Calva's 254 behind. You know, she's not going to be able to make that much up because the packs come together again. So there's this sort of medium sort of placed group who are doing really well off this. The current leaders are a little bit disadvantaged, they're losing some time, but those who are really far back, you're not going to make up 4 or 5 minutes today because this pack isn't going to split.
It's not, and I'm a little worried, a little concerned. There's Jessie Diggins now coming into picture, so she's towards the back of the field. The tour leader, the golden lady of cross-country skiing at the moment, is unluckily having a bad day. It's all to do with the blend of grip wax and glide. Yes. And brave decisions actually before the race from many of the coaches to say, oh, this is so hard to find the correct balance of grip and glide, let's just go for all glide and double pull. Yeah,
it's so interesting to see team tactics, most of the Swedes doing that, but not too many other people. I would have been interesting to see if, you know, within teams different people had gone for different approaches as well. But yeah, Diggins just has to stay calm. I think she is quite far back in the pack. It's not a great position to be in, but again, I think just today it's going to be about damage limitation for her. She's got 30 seconds on Svan and over a minute on everyone else, so she can afford to lose a little bit of time. And if that's the way to play it, that she just goes into the next couple of days with a positive mindset, I think that's what she needs to do.
It'll be troubling times. Svan and all the lead group there, all thinking, where is Jessie Diggins? We want to know. They will get information from the coaches along the way. That's without a doubt. Jessie Diggins moving on her left side. We say the tour leader. Is she making a positive move back, trying to get past some of the athletes, so she's restless at the back quarter of the field? But as you say, they're all pretty close together.
Yeah, she's trying to get through a little bit of traffic there, it looks like. So just moving up a couple of places, but also obviously not wanting to risk doing too much work out in that side lane by herself, where again the conditions are just so much slower. The effort that it takes as soon as you get out of that ski track just increases so quickly.
Have a look at that. Posey Lynn Svan was 33 seconds behind, but she's out the front now and reducing that to, well, just under 19 seconds right now. Rebound 113. That's the virtual tour standings. Still a long way to go.
Yeah, I'm finding this a little bit difficult as well, Mike, because Slynn, she started, as we've said, I would have to look down, 1 minute and 4 behind Lynn Svan, and she's now in a group with Lynn Svan, so I don't quite understand how she's not made up
Yep.
that much time.
I'm with you. So 1:39 she started the day in the overall tour standing. So yeah, that's strange.
I need a degree in maths today, Mike.
That's not me, Posey. I'm depending on you. But no, I think that's clearly wrong. Starting 1:39 behind. In the tour 1:39 behind. It is confusing, I have to say. And already Slind is.
She's made up a minute, so that on Svan,
she
so that should do something, but I'm sure it'll work out in the wash at the end.
We'll see as we progress, and those times will change. So 15 out front now, vastly experienced Parma-Koski, that's out front of the chasing group, and leading the way at the front of the whole pack is Astrid Eure Schlind at the moment, bib 21.
Okay, so this is this second pack there. We've got a bit of a gap. That's Brennan in front, and we saw Brennan was out in the lead trying to break up the pack at that far point when they had the uphill section. After this long downhill and flat, she's lost that lead pack and she's now in the chasing pack, so it's all changed depending on the terrain.
So this is the Tour de Ski coming back up towards Davos. This is a new section of track. Yes, they've trained on this section of track. Jessie Diggins knows it very well. She used to come to Davos. The Americans did every Christmas, but this year opting to go to Antroselva in Italy, which is closer to Toblach day one, but it's also at altitude, and she absolutely loved that stay there over the Christmas period. Her family, of course, her sister Mackenzie came down as well, so I think that was great in Toblach. She said it's fantastic having a family trackside.
Oh yeah, it makes such a difference, particularly for the Americans, the Canadians, those teams who are just away for 3-4 months at a time. I think having a bit of a boost of seeing family, friends and getting some trackside support is so important for them, and it was brilliant, the atmosphere in Toblach. There were loads of Americans out on course, so I think that was really nice to see the popularity of the sport there.
It was interesting. Now Lindsvan suggesting to her teammate Frida Karlsson to please come through and take some lead time, and Karlsson, we cannot forget Karlsson, starting 1:04 behind today, so clearly she's now at the front. And yes, those virtual times, hopefully we'll see them again soon, just to see what the prediction is.
Yeah, so a couple of gaps are opening up between different packs, but again, I think there's still opportunity for them to come back together. We're coming back into
into Davos.
Into Davos. I think that was Victoria Carl that we're just seeing in this biggest group. So we saw had that fall on the downhill from the top section. I think that was Carl who got the skis stuck. So she's a little bit far back in the pack here.
I think we might see those with better grip wax now. This is where we go up much higher than we went the first time up the original valley, the valley in which they're all accustomed to racing in over for Parma-Koski the last 15 years.
Yeah. So again, we're going to talk a lot about tactics today, I think, Mike. But what are the tactics for the Swedes? You've got Karlsson and Ribom, You've got Karlsson and Ribom in front. So do they want to try and just stay in the front and keep the pace a little bit softer on these uphill sections? This is where you're really disadvantaged to be on double poling skis and to be double poling only. But if they're in front and they control it, they won't let the gap extend as much as if those and kickbacks are in the front. So they're going to be interested in staying in the front, but I think if I were someone like Heidi Weng, who's in that pack, Katarina Hennig, this is when you really do try and want to see if you can just stretch it out a little bit.
I think so, and as you alluded to, so the snowfall, this is the track, they're all staying in it, the track which is so much faster, having been broken in by, at the front now, Karlsson, but it is difficult to step out of that one line, and a lot of energy, but they'll have to put their cards on the table, break free and pass the double polers now on the uphill climb. Well, there we can see it, herringbone run, or herringboning to rest their arms now. It's too steep, but there's the classic. The athletes with wax on now able to get a real advantage on those who've opted for double poling. Where's Jessie Diggins? There she is running through on the right side. This is an opportunity for Diggins to get back to the front.
Yeah, so we see great work by Heidi Weng there, and I think Niskanen again, Hennig, those good classic skiers coming to the front, pushing over that, and then again out of here we should have another quite long hill, so we're getting into the hardest part of the course now. So good for them to get themselves in position in the front of this pack as we approach this this tougher part of the course, see if you can get a break that's significant enough to try and break up this pack a little bit more. But it's so hard because we saw how much of a gap those guys on the double pole skis were able to close.
And they will close it again back down the valley, but we're on this journey for a second time when we come to the finish area in somewhat 10 kilometres, around 10 kilometres time. Interesting, and I would love to see Heidi Weng. It doesn't look great. I mean, it looks incredible as she's bib 37. Now she's at the front, but she only started 1:14 behind, and these conditions allow it. Now this is where the grip wax athletes can really make a difference. Those who have double poled have to spread the skis wide and run herringbone up this section.
Yeah, they've got to just go hard here. But look at Slind over on the left there, bib number 21. She was just able to double pole so much further than those other Swedish girls up the hill. Again, just the experience of doing these distance races, double poling. But
so Sundling in the middle, bib 10. You can see maybe she's got a little bit of wax on clearly.
Yeah, she thinks she's the only one of the Swedes who looks like she's elected to go with with kick wax.
Very interesting. Yes, Heidi Weng at the front. I was alluding to. This is brilliant to see her at the front for me. And if she wins this stage today or gets on the podium, she has 37 podiums in the Tour de Ski. The great Therese Johaug has 36 podiums, but she's equal with Petter Northug with 37. So she could be the most ever podiums in the Tour de Ski if she gets on that podium today, and I think that will be in the back of her mind. It's been talked about a lot in the press. I would love to see her be on that podium today.
Yeah, me too. And I think she's, she said she's not so good at the sprints these days. That's really disadvantaged her. It just doesn't have the speed anymore. But her distance skiing's been coming into form again in the last couple of races.
I don't know about your computer, Posey, but I'm struggling. Maybe the snow's got into the computers, but just trying to update you where we can see clearly at the front now. It's Feindrich, Heidi Weng in second place. That's Niskanen in third. Those with wax on, there's 15. That's Parma Koski. She did great to see Jessie Diggins. She's making a move that uphill section, and now less snow has reached the track through the trees here in this section of the track.
Yeah, definitely not looking quite as snowy over here, so this is good. People are able to come into a couple of different tracks.
Iduka slipping badly there, the under 23 leader from last year. She's such a fighter, but that wax is not good under her skis, making the journey even more difficult.
Oh, this is difficult for everyone. And the other problem as well with these ones that are double poling, the herringbone really early, and that's churning up the track, so it's making it really difficult for the skiers behind as well, because the whole track's disappeared.
Irritating, isn't it, when you're behind someone that's destroying your tracks?
Your beautifully groomed tracks are just chopped up.
Have a look at Carlson, struggling like crazy to keep the double poling, but the gain is now coming up back down towards the stadium.
It's just damage control. They've just got to not lose too much time here. So again, they don't need to be in the front, they just have to be within touching distance, and I think they're going to be confident that they've done that. Just interesting, bib 31 there. It's not one we normally see out front. Nadia Kalin, who's from St. Moritz, so not too far away. I think, as I said, most of this pack is quite close together. I'm not sure she'd have expected to see herself quite that far up the front though.
I don't think even in her most positive dream she could have visualised that she's so close to the front right now, but slipping crazily up this climb now.
Yeah, just see, we got Slind there on the right, and behind her we got Diggins. So Diggins we know has kick wax, but is still out and is herringboning. So again, it's just so tough. And then Kaylin, I mentioned, number 31 on the right, almost having to stop and walk here. So,
it's torture. Look at Jessie Diggins.
Heads down, poles are slipping. It's not good body language.
Carlson, I know this section of the track well. It's coming up to the high point, nearly at 1,600 metres altitude up here. And remember, those without wax on their skis have to come up this a second time. But Jessie Diggins, who has got wax, really struggling. There is no perfect combination of grip and glide today.
Yeah, and there's 38. That's Sophia Henriksen having to stop and just bang the bottom of her skis again, trying to get rid of any of that snow that's balled up before she gets to the downhill section.
Yes, and when you see the skis like swords crossing, she was rubbing the iced up sections of on the base of the ski to try and gain some glide on this next downhill section.
So Brennan and Niskanen then, that's who we saw on the climb on the far section, able to get a bit of a gap. It's not a huge gap again though, so You know, this is going to be able to be close, but the pack has spread out more this time round with this longer and sharper uphill compared to the other side of the
Very
valley.
much, and Diggins finding herself some 17 seconds behind now. Svan 28 seconds, so that uphill section really has lost 28 seconds. She was at the front leading into that steep climb. Svan, 28 seconds she's lost on that one climb. So welcome back. It's a very strange day in Davos. Here's the tour leader struggling with kick wax. There's very limited glide on most of the athletes' skis, except those who you see double poling. They've gone waxless. That's grip wax. Doesn't anchor you as much on the descents. Rosie Brennan, when it comes to the uphills, is both times we've seen the steep uphill climb, she's managed to get away, taking one athlete with her each time.
So it is starting to spread out a little bit. It was just completely together for the first 5-6 kilometers. No one being able to separate out. Now it is just stretching out a little bit, and if those gaps are wide enough, they may not come back together as they get into the second lap, which they're about to do.
Posey, the phenomenal thing here is 37 minutes on the clock. We're not even at halfway yet. This is torture. On day 5, they would have expected a 58 minutes in good conditions day, maybe less, but they're going to stretch out today to 1 hour 14 minutes or more. Was that Jessie Diggins?
It wasn't Diggins, but there was someone else down again. Just the number of people that we're seeing falling is just unheard of. And so just to come back here, that's Carlson and Slind, I think. Again, they're double poling, but they are able to keep within touching distance of these top two. So now the benefit of those faster skis are just going to absolutely fly up to the leaders.
I think we expected, having looked at the weather predictions, we expected the snow was going to drop away. Oh, Jessie Diggins, very good. She's doing absolutely fine. She's in contact. She'll just be concerned, where is Svan? And actually, will Svan's arms last out? Those who have started double poling, they're at altitude. Every muscle in the body has been tested over the last 4 days of racing. She won the sprints last night. I'm a little concerned for Svan now for the second time around double poling.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about the benefit of this double poling, obviously, is that the skis are faster. If the wax is tricky, then maybe you're better to have the faster skis. But most of these girls don't double pole race, so this is not a normal thing to see on the World Cup, so they don't have the experience of doing this for 20 kilometers. They'll absolutely do a load of double pole in training. They'll be strong, they'll do long sessions, but they're not used to racing 20k double pole only. So now as they get into the second loop, and particularly as you say with how long the race has taken, this is the real question of, do they have the strength to be able to hold the course?
And very important as well, cramp. When you're looking at your stomach muscles, your triceps at the back of your arm, when they start twitching, when they start cramping up, it's awful, especially the stomach muscles. And double poling now for 37 minutes, 39 minutes coming up, it really does make that journey tough.
Oh, so hard. As you say, it's going to be almost an hour and 20 for 20 kilometres, so they're out on course for longer than they expected as well. It's just a brutal day all round.
Yes, I think when they saw the profile of this new track here in Davos, and I say only, think about it if you're a runner or cyclist, 450 metre rise and just under a half marathon today. It is quite testing. Victoria Carl, it's a real shame she hasn't got the best wax under her skis. Teammate behind her.
Yeah, she's down in 36th place now and 42 seconds behind, so that's going to do some damage to her overall standing. She was sitting in 5th at the start of the day, just under 10 seconds off the podium as well, so that's not a good day for her.
It's not. You maybe saw down at the bottom there verbal warning for Aiduka for obstruction. I didn't see that, but possibly on the spread of her skis. There's Svan easily back to the front after quite a deficit, having climbed up the huge hill.
Yeah, that was really strong from Svan again. I was wondering if she was quite a little bit further off the pace, but again, quite a few of those packs have come back together as they've entered this longer, flatter section once again.
So just an update as we've gone through the 11.6 kilometres. It's Slind at the front, Carlson, Niskanen, Brennan, Feindrich and Veng, the top 6. Jessie Diggins still okay, still absolutely comfortable up there with that group in 8th position.
Just to point out as well, Mike, we've got Carl coming through here, and in that group with her is Parma Koski. That is another skier who you would not expect to see at the back of a classic race.
Yeah, Parma Koski has had great success historically in Davos on the podium numerous times over 15, 10 and even 20 kilometres in the past.
And she's had some, she struggled at the start of the season, but she's coming back into form again in those distance races in Tobolak, so I've just got to think that's the skis again.
I think so. Niskanen is up there at the front, and yeah, I think you can see double pulling like crazy there, Palmakoski. Bib 3 now dropping back. You can see she started well, Maya Dahlqvist. You can see her there now in picture. Bib 4 as well. We had an interview with Hagstrom at the front. She said so many different opinions from the wax technicians. So clearly the majority of the Swedish athletes opting for waxless. So 8.5 kilometres to go. 41 minutes, nearly 42 minutes on the clock. Get those drinks on board today. It's around 0 degrees in awful conditions. Jessie Diggins, she missed her drink there. I think she missed her drink. Such a pack coming through. That's awkward. She needs to get a drink. She wanted that drink badly. Hope she's not cramping up.
Yeah, this is I think there is another drink stop a bit further up we've seen as well, but certainly pretty much everyone there taking some fluid on board. And again, hour 20, longer end of racing for World Cup, so it's good to have a little drink and just keep ahead of the nutrition and the energy levels.
So the race well underway, just over 8 kilometres to go from 20 kilometres in Davos, and it's been the strangest of races in my experience over 18 years of Tour de Ski. We've never seen conditions, the snowfall playing such a part in a pursuit competition before.
Absolutely, it's the combination, isn't it? It's the snow conditions with this particular race format as well, and I think also the route that they've chosen, which you just would never have known at the time, but having the quite wide open sections through the town where the snow, where you're a little bit more exposed as well. So all added up to a perfect storm.
It did feel like a storm earlier, didn't it? Jessie Diggins, we saw her after 4 minutes in the race take a fall. I think the snow was falling so heavily, her glasses were blinded, and a small rise, she just tipped overhead first over her skis. She looked like she had a slight injury in her left side, and not bad, of course, not bad, but great to see her. And the American coaches will be delighted. About 11th, 12th position, so very much there with the group. 15 kilometres an hour on that section, dropping. They've all got transponders. You may see it at upper back. It's sewed into the race bib.
Yeah, I think she needed to she looked a bit frantic after that fall and a little out of sorts, but seems to have calmed down again and just skiing much more steadily again, which is the important thing. And just again, that pack once again pretty much all back together. It's stretched out over the big uphill section. I thought gaps might have extended enough that we wouldn't see everyone back together, but once again this is almost everyone back in one pack. And Niskanen, again, she's got an uphill. She wants to do some damage, but it's so difficult to get away.
It is indeed. There's Lynn Svan. She's back, having had a drop back of some 23 seconds. So Svan's desire. There's Jessie Diggins. Oh, that's looking very tough. Opting to double pull up that section is indicating the grip isn't working well anymore for Jessie Diggins. That will very much be concerning for the coaches and the wax technicians. Here's the next climb. This will again separate the pack.
Yeah, it will separate the pack. It's a pretty short one, but we're just seeing, from the looks of it, Brennan and Niskanen taking any opportunity they can just to put a little bit of hard work in. And I guess there's tactics here. They might not necessarily get a breakaway, but you're going to tire out those athletes who are double poling. You're going to put them under more stress. And as we said, is that what's going to finally break them if they just can't handle the whole 20 kilometres double poling?
Well, we'll see it. 45 minutes on the clock at the front there, looking quite easy. It is still Lynn Svan. She's still using arm power only.
Yeah, Slynn's looking absolutely great. Slynn's so comfortable. Carlson looking pretty good as well, I think. They seem to be the ones who are, Slynn's and Carlson for me are the ones who I think are benefiting the most from this double polling tactic.
Yes, and prior to the weather being so bad today, I think certainly Slynn had alluded to the fact, Team Norway had alluded to the fact that Slynn would opt for double polling, and it really does for the men's race coming up at 1 o'clock local time, 12 o'clock UK time. The men will be watching this, and I think we'll be seeing the majority of the men's field double poling.
I agree with that. I think we'd see quite a few in the men's anyway, just given the nature of this course and the relative lack of climb that we've seen. But I think particularly with the conditions, although the snow should ease off, I agree.
And I'm just thinking, Posey, your brother, the great Andrew Musgrave, sadly watching this at home up in Trondheim, he'll be thinking this section was my section. Double poling in Davos. Well, he'll be disappointed, but if you're unwell, you have to back off.
Yeah, could have been a good day for him, but that's always the way, ifs and buts. And there's been a lot of dropouts, unfortunately, men's and women's, so it's just staying healthy, recovering stage after stage. These are some of the really important things in the Tour. So it's about racing well, it's about being consistent, but it's about getting yourself from one venue to another in good health.
It is indeed. Well, the snow that I certainly had seen would back off. It hasn't at all. It's come on heavy for a second time, and there's the double poling Swede still battling the way up. This hill isn't quite as steep as the one we saw out in the forest just up from Davos, so that was the biggest test in terms of double poling.
Yeah, so this is, again, we saw these same athletes out in front the last time up this, so I guess the question is, can they extend that lead a little bit more? Certainly they're looking more comfortable than anyone else on this on the uphill sections, but Slind doing an absolutely brilliant job to stay on the tails.
She certainly is. From those 9 years of ski classics, distance racing, which generally is double poling. Great to see Heidi Weng still in there for our potential 38th podium. That will be in the back of her mind. Bib 35 powering away. There's Jessie Diggins back up towards the front. That's for Lisa Lohman, the 23-year-old German, one of her best ever races at the moment. There's Aiduka, who has a verbal warning for obstruction.
We are starting to see just a few of the sprinters struggling a little bit. That's 9, that's Emma Rebohm back there, and I think we've got Hagström and Dahlqvist more towards the back of the pack here. So again, they're 20 kilometres is probably at the longer end of what they'd be comfortable with.
Very interesting, isn't it? We saw them leading out with their teammate Svan. They took some of the hard work, the lead work in. Lynn Svan's also got that's a technique violation. She needs to be careful. She doesn't need to skate anymore.
Yeah, and the more tired you get, the harder it is to be careful about that as well. I think the skis just start to tempting to glide a little bit or to be a bit sloppy on the corners, but you have to be on it if you're going to make this choice to double pole.
You have to, and of course the jury on each of these corners are monitoring. There's Jessie Diggins, and her skis are awful.
Are just
look how much time she's losing.
I'd like to see who that was in front, because I think the person in front does also have good skis, but
which made it look
worse. But certainly the contrast between the two was quite something.
Well, here we have it. I say the veterans, the great experience out front. It's Niskanen, Rosie Brennan,
Heidi Weng, Astrid Øyreslind, and Lynn Svan having an absolute blinder here as well. I'm so impressed with her this tour.
Yeah, very much. And Dahlqvist we saw at the back. Hagström we saw at the back. They started with Svan and are suffering now.
Just other one to point out that I think it's just holding up pretty well. As we say, the pack is sort of tending to come back together, but that's Nadine Feindrich, bib 6, who's just within touching distance of the front still. So, a pretty good race for her over 20 kilometres.
It really is. Just you can see there 6.79 kilometres to the finish. There's still a way to go here, and that's going to take some 20 minutes, 21 minutes in these conditions. Can Lynn Svan survive double poling with the lead group all the way? We've seen her teammates who started double poling, Dahlqvist, Hagström, struggling, as I said earlier. 42 coming through. That's good to see. Bergan leading the under 23. So heading back towards Davos on the final lap, day 5 of racing, and it's 20 kilometres in the toughest and most changeable conditions, difficult conditions we've seen for a very long time in World Cup racing, and for me the most difficult ever in the Tour de Ski. Incredible. Look at the glide factors there, so variable. Yes, there's an element of drafting, but those with wax on, the skis are slow. those waxless are really catching up on the descents.
Yeah, it's not always easy, is it, to kind of feel for the speed in different races, but I think having seen some of those really high speeds in Toblach and other races earlier on, I think you can, even just by watching this, you can kind of feel how slow these descents are. It's just, you know, they're having to double pole on the downhill sections. The skiers coming out the back are having to snow plough to stop banging into the skiers in front, and all that work once again that these top racers are doing, you know, just swallowed up. So the downhills and these conditions are having an outsized impact.
It's very, very interesting. So the huge field that started at the beginning of this race, only 1 minute 22 from bib 1 to bib 44 on the start line, still very much together. Jessie Diggins in about 9th position, 10th position now, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9th position.
Yeah, just interesting. Niskin there jumped to the side, obviously had fed up of snow ploughing and leading the way for everyone, so she's jumped out, tried to say to Brennan, you know, you take a little bit of the work on here, it can't all be just for me to do.
I like the way Heidi Weng is being as economical as possible, staying in 3rd, 4th or 5th position for most of the race. She did lead for a very small section, and that was on the steep uphill climb. Maybe she's just recovering, resting up to unleash herself second time around.
Yeah, I think the only... this is interesting. There goes Slind off the front. I was going to say it's going to stay together, but Slind making a bit of a dash for it here.
Interesting, trying to get some gain. I'd like to see the cameras following her. Victoria Carl is having a bad day, and she's been so good in Classic this season. 2 podiums in Classic 10-kilometre racing this season. Yes, this is the section for Slind to try and make some advantage into the final climbs.
Yeah, she's got a bit of a gap here. It's the first time we've seen a gap really open up on these flatter sections. She wants to take the advantage of that speed that she's got on double poling to try and just break it up a little bit. But that's a brave move from her with these conditions today.
And good in terms of Niskanen. She's led for an awful long way now. 5.81 kilometres to go. Each kilometre taking so long today. Compared to how it would normally shape up. Still a way to go, and so many together within just a 12-14 second space.
Yeah, I think just before we saw Slind up the pace there, just interesting to see if this does have an impact. What I was going to say is I'm anticipating it's going to be about this last big climb again before the finish. I think that will break up, and the question is, can these skiers with kick wax on get enough advantage here to hold off the double polers into the finish and that fast finish. But it looks like Slind and some of those others on double poling aren't content to leave it right to the finish. They want to make up a bit of time now on that overall ranking as well, so willing just to put the work in and see if they can do any damage.
Linz Fan, quite amazing, still in 2nd position. Carlson still in behind her teammate there. Carlson, not renowned for her double poling strength, but fighting hard today. There's Jessie Diggins finding herself. Those skis are so incredibly slow under Jessie Diggins' ski boots. That's a nice way to watch a race, isn't it?
That's a great way to watch a race. A few blankets on to be protected against the snow. Again, we can just see those at the back able to stand up, get a good bit of rest in. But the challenge is, if it does break up, you've got a lot of people to get around in front of you. So if any one person cracks, those people behind have to do a lot of work to get round and make up to the pack in front.
They do indeed, and bib 30 Hennig at the back of this lead few are now being caught back in, hauled back in.
It's just so hard to get away. Celinda's really putting the work in now. You can see up front as the tempo's gone up, the power's gone up. So compared to before when people were content to leave it, she wants to try and do a bit of damage here. You can see this. She's skiing with much more intent than she has before. And now she's not.
No, she's not. Who she suggested? Is that Svan? And Svan saying, nope, having none of it. I'm not going to lead.
I think is that Carlson that's gone in front now.
I don't think so.
No, this is Svan in number 4.
Yeah, well, it must be Carlson.
So
yeah.
No one willing to take the lead on at all. This is it's so frustrating for Slind. If you've done all that work and then you say, someone go with me, but no one else will.
They're refusing. Nope, don't want
Absolutely
it. But
not.
that's allowing Jessie Diggins now. There she is on the far right, allowing Jessie Diggins that little bit of conversation at the front has slowed it down. Slind realising full well that she has to take the responsibility.
Do you know what? She had the benefit in the last pursuit. I think she tucked herself quite nicely in the pack in the last 20k we saw, so maybe time for her to do this work, and she'll be the strongest double polar in this field, so if anyone is able to do any damage here, it has to be Slims.
I think so, and vast experience, the 35-year-old at the front, the tail athletes now started so far up, that's Maya Dahlqvist and Johanna Hagström at the back, struggling. They are really more renowned as sprinters.
Yeah, Hagström particularly, I think, is much more of a pure sprinter. Dahlqvist can have a good distance race on her day, but I think obviously this is such a challenging race.
Well, very, very interesting race here in Davos. It's the pursuit, classic style. Jessie Diggins, the tour leader, finding herself still in this big lead group, but the skis are awful. There is no glide factor at all. Her grip wax, yes, sometimes is working on the uphill, but it really is anchoring the glide on these downhill sections. Look at that. Look how much they try to catch as much wind as they can to slow themselves down. Need a little parachute, some of them today.
Yeah, and ideally I think they are having to, but what they're trying to avoid is actually getting the skis out of the track because of the snow and the prospect of balling up. They're trying to slow without snow plowing.
Astrid Øyre-Schlind is getting frustrated, really needs some support. She's trying to get some seconds lead on Jessie Diggins, who has managed now to come back into this lead group quite rapidly, even with those desperately slow skis under her ski boots.
I think this whole pack almost is back up together. There's a couple off the back, and it is stringing out because they're in the one line. So I think again, if you are at the back of this, you are going to lose a little bit of time to the finish, but we're not going to see any big margins at all here compared to normal. So that is now Svan, I think, who's doing a little bit of work in front, taking a short turn in front of Slins, but I'm not sure it's in her interest to be in the front for too long. So she doesn't have a huge amount to gain from this.
She certainly. Yes, it's just hard work at the moment, and you know, all these athletes have gone through shades of discomfort, shades of pain, shades of hell throughout this race, and all have questioned their technicians, their equipment. But it's interesting how the skis in the end have kind of matched up. Those with the strong arms have double poled with no grip wax, which slows you down on the glide, but it doesn't assist you at all on the up climbs.
Yeah, it would be fascinating to see if this was an interval start, what the difference would have been in the times.
Very different, wouldn't it?
I think so, because you wouldn't have that drafting effect on the downhill section. So those who are able to push the pace on the uphills, they might not have then been caught back again. But on the other hand, those on the double pole skis would really have made a lot of time up on the flats. So
and the tracks would have been pressed in all the time, as opposed to 37 minutes since they last skied on this section, and a lot of snow has fallen in those 37 minutes. Well, I predicted a winning time, I'll be honest today, of 58.35, so I've lost the bet, Posey.
You certainly have.
And you know what, I didn't even take into account the snow, but there we go. I saw Lynn Svan indicating something there. Was it to a coach on the left side? I didn't quite see. Does she want another drink in before this final attack to the line, where she'll, I'm quite sure, be desperate for yet another podium?
Yeah, this is going to be pretty brutal. I think we do have this quite challenging climate towards the end, and we saw last time though that almost everyone was. I think she might have broken a pole, has she? She's waving for something, certainly.
Coaches, help me! Come on!
No, it's a drink. Yep. She just wants a drink.
I think it's the pole.
It is the pole. I think it's the broken pole.
Well, when Lynn Svan is unhappy, you react, you make sure you sort the issue out. So thankfully she got that pole. She
was lucky not to have too long without a replacement there. So she's not, and again, because of how this is working out, she's not lost anything. She's still sitting in third place here. So it's about as good as you can hope for. You just have to hope that pole looks about the right size as well. So
it looks okay, doesn't it?
It does look okay.
So Lynn Svan, quite incredible. Day one, she won the sprints. Something of a surprise. She's coming. That was her first victory since that terrible shoulder injury, having almost lost 2 real seasons of racing, and winning last night. So the second sprint, she won there last night, and again it made her very happy, because this is the venue where she took her first ever World Cup win back in 2021. And
she looked so comfortable yesterday as well. It was an easy win though. She had clear ground between her and Skistad, who was in second. So she looked absolutely back in dominant form, like she was in that last year when she was just winning, race after race.
And she seemed supremely confident, and she wasn't bluffing when she said, actually, I felt so strong during the whole qualifying time, through the heats, through the semis, into the final. And she looked so strong, and she alluded to that. And today, double poling for 1 hour now, I think is quite incredible. She's clearly got a strength and desire more than most today to still be up front. Yes, Carlson's there with her, and many others. Big names up the front, and vastly experienced athletes at the front as well. Astrid Øyre-Slind has had to put in the work. She's requested those around her to assist. They've avoided that conversation, and she's still at the front.
And now it looks like the sun's coming out for the last couple of kilometres
and for the men's race.
And for the men's race. So this is going to be crucial here, Mike. I think what's really important is the positioning. What order are they in as they get to the uphill section? Because we saw last time on the steep uphill, almost everyone was herringboning up the hill, regardless of if you were in double pole or in kick-wax. But if you can ski the whole way up and you can make some time, you've got to get yourself up to the front here so you're not stuck behind those other athletes.
And Jessie Diggins right now in about 15th place, her mind will be saying, I need to try and get past for those reasons, but the skis are so slow in the descent.
I just think she's about damage control today. I don't think she needs to be doing that. I think for me it's about Brennan, Niskanen, Heidi Weng. We've seen those three up the front. Hennig's dropped back a little bit, but those 3 or 4, maybe not for the overall, but for the victory today, they'll be thinking, I've got to get a bit of a breakaway here. That's what I've got to do if I want to get this victory today and make a little bit of time up.
What a race. There you are. There's the road blocking you mentioned. Jessie Diggins, she is coming through now by small margins, but that is important.
But yeah, we've got Heidi Weng and Niskanen up the front. Brennan coming through again. Hennig's there, and 19 is Fosnes. So again, those with kick-wax on are coming to the front, and they need to do that if they want to have any chance of getting even more time, because we've got a little bump here, but we've seen that top hill is absolutely brutal.
It really is, and Anki Loinen is in there. This is one of our better distance races for some time, so once again the Finnish technicians, as they did in Toblach, getting the wax combination just as good as you can. Aiduka's still there. She's had a verbal warning for obstruction. Heidi Weng not wanting to take the lead. It's Bergan at the front now, the youngster, the fighter from Norway. I'm loving this race, Posey. It's so different. We didn't know quite how it would pan out today, expecting better weather, and then the snow started. Really making this an incredible race of a blend of struggling for everybody. Some good glide factor, some terrible glide factor, but all in all, extremely hard work in Davos.
It's been an absolutely wild ride from start to finish, and we're going to end up with sort of 115 on the clock to the finish. But now look, we've got to get Svan
is almost out of energy
just
there,
out of gas at the end there, and so the question is, can these front ones, can they do anything on this final hill?
So it is the final lap and the final huge climb. Those with grip wax on are having some gain, except Carlson on the left side. Look at her double poling now. She needs to be very careful not to skate. Some have had warnings, verbal warnings. Jessie Diggins looking okay. She's coming back towards the front.
Yeah, Slind's still up there as well. Slind and Carlson have definitely made the right call on this double pole. They're just about holding their own, staying really near the front, and so again, they're going to be the ones who have this fast finish with their skis. But it's all about what these 3 or 4 at the front can do. Can Weng and Niskanen, can they just keep pushing it, open that gap even wider? But Carlson and Slind are looking brilliant as soon as you got even the slightest flat section.
It's incredible, and again that vast experience comes into play today. You're coping with negative situations. They're all in negative situations, but the more experienced athletes are managing better than most. Bergan, for me, this is a brilliant performance for her, and you know what, I think she might finish on the podium.
She's just been hiding away in the pack there. She managed to work her way through the traffic all the way from, that's third last. We had 44 bibs today, and now she's decided this is when she needs to do the work. So again, Carlson, absolutely fantastic to be up there with these guys. Slid just about holding on, but they have got to go absolutely all out up this final brutally steep climb that they've got here.
Yes, Rosie Brennan has been the fighter throughout. She's taking the initiative. Niskanen alongside her, Bergan still there, and I think that's Hennig slip sliding away. Jessie Diggins on the left is on survival mode, and she's been surviving incredibly well. Bergan is up there, the biggest surprise. Her personal best ever is 6th position. I think she might beat that today. Look at Lynn Svan now. This is where the pain is being felt. She's going to lose a lot of time here. Yes, she'll gain some of that time back in the small descent down into the stadium. The fighter is still trying to make the best of bad equipment, but the lead pack, the leaders are beginning to get some advantage at last. Kiloinen there, the wax is over gripping. She's having to try and smash it free.
Yanatova as well up front. That's a name we don't see here too often, so some really unusual names coming to the front, but these three have just got to keep their heads down, just keep working, and just this last bit is so steep. You can see, look at Bergan's body language. She's right over Niskanen, struggling for breath. Hennig is just walking up the hill, which is just something that absolutely unheard of.
Bergan crabbing her way up the hill. Come on, Jessie Diggins. Hennig can't keep the flow anymore, just stride out like steep mountain walking. Jessie Diggins, the brain is saying go, but the body for the first time is saying no.
That's just not that from Hennig. That's just not a technique you see on World Cup racing. She's walking, she's having to scrape her skis off there. Look, that's the disadvantage of this kick wax. She was so balled up by the top, she couldn't get any glide at all, so she was having to walk.
It's awful. Where is Lynn Svan? So Lynn Svan at last, eventually the arms and the stomach muscles struggling. She's losing a lot of time. She was still up towards the front last time up this climb. So tough times for Lynn Svan, who started first based on her sprint racing yesterday. The experience, the two 35-year-olds out front, Brennan and Niskanen. Look at this. This is Jessie Diggins at her best.
This is the first time we've seen any kind of gap open up. 11 seconds back to Bergan, another 3 to Diggins, 4 to Hennig, who's really struggling with the skis as well. Hennig's skis were just doing nothing there. And now the first of the double polos with Carlson.
Carlson, well, that's a deficit, 24.6 seconds. Where's Lynn Svan? This is critical for Lynn Svan to pull some time back. She is, at the beginning of the day, separated by 33 seconds behind this lady, Jessie Diggins.
That was Lynn Svan back in 24th place there, so she's lost about...
Did you see the time? I was looking at my computer.
She's lost 47 seconds just on that last climb, so...
But she will gain here. She'll gain the fast glide. There's Jessie Diggins in 4th place. Bergan just in front of her. Still Rosie Brennan at the front. Niskanen tucked in. They're really trying to make the gain here. They know with the snowfall now having stopped, but it's still new, fresh snow having fallen on this section. Here comes Carlson.
Yeah, look at the skis. Look at the advantage of the skis. No one can afford to rest even a little bit on these downhill sections. They've got to double pull absolutely everything, and it's flat out from here to the finish.
Have a look at the facial expressions from Rosie Brennan on the left row in 2nd place, and Niskanen. Niskanen winning on Sunday over 10 kilometers time trial classic. Classic specialist here. Here comes Bergan taking Rosie Brennan. The double polers are coming back to Jessie Diggins with that awful glide that she has.
Yeah, same with, we've got Diggins struggling with glide, we've got Hennig struggling with glide, and then behind that we've got Carlson, we've got Stint, and there's still 2 kilometers to go. There's a lot of time for these two to try and keep that lead. They've been the strongest every time there's been an uphill, but there's 2 kilometers, and that's a long time with the glide factor that we're seeing. So, God, they've got to work hard on these downhills.
They have, and those without the wax on, amazing amount of time that Bergan and Jessie Diggins have lost. It was 27 seconds, 37, some 15 seconds lost to the lead two. Here comes Carlson with the faster skis. This is where Carlson can see her in white at the back. This is where she'll pull back rapidly. Well, what a race. You could just hear Jessie, I think it is, breathing crazy there, just in behind Bergan, who's in 3rd place. What a feeling now, Posey. They're coming to, they can almost see Davos there. Niskanen, you can't tuck lower than that. But it does affect your balance.
Oh, it's a risky move, but she just wants this so badly. She loves these classic races, and she loves racing at Davos as well. This has always been a good place for her. You know, she loves classics, she loves the altitude, but it has not been in favour for anyone to get away today. They've done brilliantly, but they've just got to keep working. It's so close. Carlson's making that time back.
She is, and Niskanen at the front. She won her 6th individual race at the weekend. This could be her 7th if she can stay in front. Well, coming into the final phase, there is still a 400 metres to go, but it's Rosie Brennan. Unbelievable. She appeared to be losing form on days 2 and 3, but very much back, very much the fighter. Niskanen certainly won't let it go easily, so Niskanen coming alongside. It's Jessie Diggins, unbelievably. Where does she get the strength from? Carlson is in the pack chasing Jessie Diggins for 3rd place. 1:11.11 on the clock. Can they keep this going with slower skis, with the grip wax holding them back just slightly? Oh, Niskanen now. Brennan has to tuck in behind.
Oh, they're just absolutely brutal right through to the finish there at 21.6 kilometres, just 400 metres to go, but they have to hold it together around. Look how hard Niskanen's breathing.
So coming in, yes, turning round, coming into towards the home straight now. It's not a long run from here, it's just a little gentle climb. So Niskanen leading Brennan. They both want this victory. They're both 35-year-old, vastly experienced. Come on, Rosie Brennan. Incredibly, Jessie Diggins taking the corner in 3rd place. Where does she get the strength? A lot of step turns there on the final corner. Oh, another victory coming up for Niskanen. Tucked in behind is Rosie Brennan. What a race for Niskanen. Brennan surviving in 2nd. Jessie Diggins 3rd last night in the sprint competition. 3rd again today. Totally spent, as always, across the line. And Sundling coming through. Where did she come from? Carlson. I expected maybe a 4th or 3rd for Carlson. And now they flood across the line. Where's Lynn Svan as Kilonen, Stadler, the Feindrich, Claudel come through. What a race. Well, there's Svan, 29 seconds behind.
What a brutal day of racing. Absolutely brutal for everyone. Slow conditions, tough racing.
The thin air in Davos, you can just see the effect when you're sucking in 140, 150 litres every minute. And Niskanen spent, Jessie Diggins on the right side, spent everybody to the limit today on day 5 at the Tour de Ski.